familiar with as well, the Smiths Group. Please start off by saying, were you born here? Were you born
I'm born in New York City, U.S. of A.
Yes, sir.
My parents were born in Puerto Rico. My grandparents, in Puerto Rico. My great grandparents via Ghana, Africa to Puerto Rico, and from here, according to oral history in the family, our descendants go back roughly 1600s from Ghana to Puerto Rico, and what used to be not really Puerto Rico, they call it now, but Boricua, if I'm saying it correctly. Um, and in the early 1900s, my grandmother and my grandfather, both natives of Puerto Rico and Santurce, Puerto Rico, migrated here to the USA, United States. Um, so my oral history goes back at least to the late 1600s, early 1700s. From basically where we came from. So, with this whole ancestry thing, we start going back and see if I can track down some of my distant relatives in Ghana. And I was born on March 6th, on the day that Kwame Nkrumah had the independence of Ghana in March 6, 1957. So, for me, that's a spiritual affiliation, connotation that's home for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still haven't gotten there, but the plan is definitely to get to Ghana before I visit the ancestors. I was born here in New York City, Metropolitan Hospital. Um, I just made 66 on Monday. Educated here in the U.S. of A. Went to Albany State University. Then, got to put myself underneath the bus. In 1975, I graduated Brandeis High School. Went to Albany State University for a year. Got kicked out of there. Went to John Jay for 4 years. I left John Jay in 1981 to pursue my studies in acupuncture for 3 years with Professor Milford Graves. So I studied under him for 3 years doing acupuncture. And graduated from there 1984. I started working in construction. Because at the time, in the early 80s, there was a program in New York City called a Homestead Program, where you was able to either squatter a building or own a building or grab a building or buy a building for $1, whatever those parameters was. Yeah, that's roughly 40 years ago.
Okay.
And so that was my interest. And before then, when I was in junior high school, I was part of a program in Booker T. Washington to assist tenants that had led in the apartments. It was back in the early 70s. I was a real, beloved, because we're basically the same age. We had a real serious situation in the 60s and the 70s where young children were eating lead paint.
Right.
And how it was affecting our community.
Right.
So at Booker T. Washington, I was part of a program to go into buildings. Being part of this program in Booker T. Washington and Junior High School 54 on 107th Street, 107th Street and Columbus Avenue, he was basically advocating to find out how we can help the tenants get the landlords to start doing some type of lead abatement in the apartments. So that got me, back then in the 8th grade, that got me a little bit interested in real estate. So again, 81, 82, 83, with this homestead program, you'll be able to, if you was able to buy a building with $1, because whatever parameters they were at that time, again, I still wasn't up on that. That got me interested to get into construction. because again, you need to know the skills before you can enact an idea or a vision. So that's the way I went through it. And then I went back to school to study structural engineering at New York Technical College for 2 years. I went there, and also to study blueprint reading, because again, when you have to look at blueprints, you need to understand what you're looking at structurally, and when you start setting up your tenant, what they call tenant partitions, for your tenants for commercial spaces and residential spaces, and understand what the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC systems, sprinkler systems, security systems, lighting systems. So I went back to school to learn that. But I was at New York Technical College in Brooklyn. That was the late 80s.
Right.
So that basically was my, after I did with acupuncture, going to construction, to go into real estate restoration. So from that point, let's say 1986 to where I'm at now, well, not really up where I'm at now, I say in the last 2019, 2020, I started phasing into the artistical world. I should have fitted my thought insofar as that my grandparents came from Puerto Rico.
Joke.
Born and raised in New York City. I was raised as a Puerto Rican, but I was an undercover Puerto Rican because I look black, except when we started talking Spanish, English, we said, oh, you got that Puerto Rican accent. So my friends used to make fun of me because when we was kids, and then we used to wear the pointy shoes back in the old days with the white socks. So,
the roast colors.
Yeah, the roast stuffers. So, that took me back to that, and then on Sundays, moms had us every Sundays religiously. We had to go to church. We were baptized as Roman Catholics, but moms had us going to a Presbyterian church because she, for whatever reason, she felt comfortable at the Presbyterian church. So every Sunday or the night before, and I know you probably remember this, moms used to have us slick our hair, put the stocking, one of her old stockings, over our head overnight. So when you woke up the next morning, you took that off, you was plaited. Yo, beloved, you taking me back.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. We need this. We need this year.
So I'm not gonna get too carried away. Yeah, but peace and blessings to my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my great grandmothers. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to speak the way as I speak.
Right.
And I have to give them thanks because from the womb of my mother, from the womb of my grandmother, my great grandmother, their power has given me the power to speak as I speak today, yesterday, and I pray to speak in tomorrow's days to come. So,
okay, let me ask you a question, right? Because I listen to you, and you come out of the deep stuff sometimes, some really deep stuff. Do you pay attention to the Orisha and stuff?
do I pay attention to what?
The Orisha.
Yeah, always. All the Orishas.
Mm-hmm.
All the Orishas. And going back and giving thanks to my teacher, Baba Haji, he put me on to my Orishas, and that's a practice that I practice every day because, again, for me, understanding my connection with back home, the continent, and understanding the aspect of where I came from as a human being, coming from the womb of a woman, of a black woman, and understanding what my evolutionary process is to go from where I'm at now today as I speak with you and where I plan to be at tomorrow and the tomorrows to come next year, 10 years from now. That's my emphasis.
Right.
So the Orishas for me, it's a daily thing. When you eat your food, that's your Orisha. When you go to the bathroom, that's your Orisha. When you wash your hair, that's your Orisha. When you kiss your woman, that's your Orisha. When you curse at your enemy, that's your Orisha. What? Because all of them is all involved in every emotional aspect of our daily lives. So, but yeah, I definitely
Got you. Okay, continue with your thought. I just wanted to put that out there because you get deeply spiritual many times, and I pick up on it, because I've studied a little bit about the Orisha and stuff like that. So I just want.
But as you say this right now, beloved, and I'm glad you brought that point up, and we might go into a tangent, but if you look at what's going on today, today's the second or the third day of the full moon. We're in a lunar cycle today, and that's going to be stirring up lunar type of energies. And if those of us who are conscious of those energies can become in tune with that and manifest the inner power through that, beloved, at the end of 2023, do you know that every person that understands their lunar cycle and the solar cycle, how powerful they will be? So if we can focus on that and talking again about the Orishas, and then today again, this is the second or the third day of the full moon. So when you look at the full moon tonight, you're going to see how bright it is, and it should be either at the 7 o'clock position if you're facing east. No, 5 o'clock position if you're facing east, or if you're facing west, it'll be in your 11 o'clock position.
Okay.
Depending where you at in the world, because you may be facing south, it may be on the 2 o'clock position. So it's a give and take situation. But I mean, and this is my own personal, and I'm talking to you like, I'm looking you face to face, and how I'm feeling during this lunar cycle at this time right now. So I'll leave it right there. So
Got you.
But to get back to the construction, restoration, commercial, drywall, home improvement led me into doing what I'm doing right now at this moment is what I call micro cement designs. And what I did was, roughly 4 years ago, I had to, it wasn't I had to, but I was asked to help a client do some micro cement finishing work on a hotel in Brooklyn, one of these 5-star hotels, because at the last minute, the person that was supposed to do it was unable to do it. So I was new to this, but I got a hang of it. 1, 2, 3. These quick, easy. Let me show what you got to do and go in there and see what you can do. But I had background in plastering, working with cement, so it wasn't that hard to figure out. So through working with that and then experimenting with the micro cement concept, I started doing clients' homes, like what we call featured walls. So let's say, for an example, your living room wall, I can go from one end to the next end and do what we will call a micro cement design. Either A, something that you may envision that you may want to see on your wall. B, I can take a portrait, put it over a overhead projector, draw it on your wall, and use the micro cement as the detailing drawing piece to bring it to surface. Basically what it is just cement. I'm using cement as art.
So it's almost like sculpting. It's almost like sculpting, right?
Well, sculpting to the sense that it's flat. It's not sculpting where you actually have a 3-dimensional figure.
Right, gotcha.
So basically, I'm painting with cement, and I'm painting with cement.
All right.
Right, because there's one technique I can use. Well, there's 3 techniques that I have. One technique I can use strictly cement. There's another technique I can use strictly micro cement. And then there's another technique that you can use micro cement with cement. Or Venetian plaster with cement. So the variations of the techniques that you can use to get a different type of effect that you may be looking for. So right now, 2 weeks ago, myself and my partner, we were featured artists at the Harlem Fine Art Show at the Glass House on 48th Street, 12th Avenue. So we was there February 24th to 25th and 26th. So we featured our micro cement art and acrylic art at that venue. And we got a couple of pieces, hanging on walls throughout New York City. I got a piece over here at the Chelsea Hotel. We got a piece at Dwyer. Right now we're working on trying to get pieces throughout every hotel in New York City so that people know throughout New York City that Harlem has some viable and powerful artists. It's just that we as artists or they as artists don't have a platform, don't have a home where you can say, well, let me hang my stuff up on the walls so people can come to see it. Now, I could be wrong. I don't hang out. You know, I'm an old man, you know, I would go to work and I just like close up. So maybe there may be places out there in Harlem. Now I know it's a location on 130, this is 130 in the Stravers Road. There's a space there, but I don't know if that's a location where artists can frequent their art, you know, either weekly or monthly, or if there's a rental, you know, what kind of cost is there, if there's a rental fee. But see, the thing about it is, these are hard times.
Right.
The folks don't have.
And then you got the gallery, Brother Hector, the Fed Office building. Have you ever put anything there?
Yeah, I was there last year with Mr. Mills.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I was trying to split myself up to have some of my pieces at the Glass House and then at the State Building, but it didn't work out that way. But that's a definite location that you can show your art at. Now, hopefully, the state continues to allow him to have that space, you know, and whether or not they continue to give him the necessary funding that he needs, and if not that, if those that are wealthy enough to say, well, look, let me take 3% of what I got to make sure that the state building has an art gallery where artists in Harlem and throughout Manhattan and throughout New York City can have a place to display their art. So, I mean, now that we're talking, that's a thought. And someone out there may know something, or, you know, somebody knows why, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something. But yeah, that's a possibility. Let's see what gives.
Right.
But right now my focus, if possible, and I'm not one to use the word if, because if it's the I'm looking forward to pass on these skills to some young brothers. Now I want to collaborate with my young graffiti artists' brothers to see how, because see, and the reason why I'm saying this because I put my art outside of originally about 3 years ago, I put my portraits outside the building to cover the graffiti that the young brothers was constantly tagging. So I said, well, look, let me see if I put my art out there. Maybe if they see my art, they'll respect my art and they won't tag it. Nah, that wasn't the case.
Okay.
My young brothers came up there and they tagged my art. But look here, I dug it. I was mad. I was mad when I first seen it, and then when I showed it to my grandson said, "Yo, Pop, don't you see what that is?" I said, "Oh, sweat," and it said, "I am God."
Wow.
Yeah, and because again, not looking at my I was looking at my on a vertical position. The tagger had wrote, "I am God" in a horizontal position. I didn't turn my art horizontally. I left it as I created it in a vertical position. It wasn't until my grandson told me, "Pop, you got to turn it and then read it," and then I understood. Oh, so that gave me the ideas to collaborate with the young brothers.
Like understanding, interpreting hieroglyphics almost, huh?
No, beloved, exactly. Exactly. And you know, that's another good point because when we look at the Nile Valley, the Nile River, looking at it from the south of what they call South Africa, it looks different. But if you're looking at it from across the Mediterranean Sea, you're going to get a totally different perspective. So depending on where you at that time, in your time of location, and what you're looking at, you're going to get a totally different perspective than someone else in a different time, space, and location, and how they're looking at it. So this is why
we have to sit down with each other and look at the perspective from where we're looking at a situation or a circumstance from, together and understanding to find a resolution to a solution.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I'm gonna leave it right there.
Gotcha. I want to talk to you. We talked a little bit about the training of youth and stuff like that in your craft, in your work. Talk a little bit about that, how you come to that, and why you think that's important to train the young people today, and what kind of success have you had with that particular training, with introducing young people to your craft?
Well, I haven't I haven't really started with the young folks yet, but with the older brothers, I have. Because see, with the components that I'm using, you have to use sheetrock. That has weight. You have to know how to use a screw gun. You have to use a saw. So there's certain safety measures that I need to take first with my young people first. Or if not, use specific all hand tools. And still with the hand tools, I have to show the young people safety issues and safety measures, because you can still hurt yourself with hand tools if you don't know what you're doing. So from right now, I'm looking at structuralizing that whole system right there. Now for the older cats, the older brothers that are already in construction, the safety issue is no issue because they already been through it. They already know what to look out for. They know what to do and what not to do. So that particular course is we bypass that. With my young folks, I gotta be very, very, very critical on that safety issue. But I can still teach them the technique because I can prepare everything else for them, and I can still teach them the technique. So by to June, July, I was planning to start setting up maybe a weekend class, have some young folks that were interested come up to the shop and start training them on the technique. And for this reason, because it's an economic trade. Once you get into certain circles and people see this particular craft that can be magnified. Because see, I started doing this on people's ceilings first, on clients' ceilings first, in their bathrooms. Because when you sit down on the throne dome, the first thing you do is you look at your walls, you look at your ceiling. When you look at the micro cement technique, you'll see features in your micro cement that are entertain your thought pattern to look and to see, is this a pattern? Is this a feature? Is this, so you're constantly thinking, constantly stimulating the brain activity, the electrical impulses. Now, for some folks, that may not be that thing, granted. But for those that may be want to be stimulated, whether on the dome, that's one of my features. Now, when they train it as a skill, beloved, you can take this because right now you have a thing called Venetian plaster. You have a lot of Venetian plasterers in the field up the street. Micro cement is going to be the next. But see, the micro cement that I'm pushing is to be able to create it with your own mindset. So what you are in mindset, you can create through your micro cement. Once you understand the development of your technique, everything that you do in life is about technique. Breathing is about technique. Proper breathing is about technique, because if you look at what happened 2 years ago, there was an issue that we won't discuss, but the main focus was what? On your breathing apparatus. So we need to understand how to strengthen our breathing apparatus, and that will take us to where we need to get to. Because a highly oxygenated environment, which is your temple, kills all types of illnesses. So we constantly got to understand how to breathe properly. And this one thing, again, when I was studying Kundalini Yoga with Yogi Budget, he also taught us about the proper way of breathing and understanding how to, and as an old, well, now I'm not old, 65, 66 ain't old, but getting up there, but I understand that breathing
It's the most important factor that we have, and especially bringing late at night when all this junk is settled down, and early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, before you start getting all the carbon monoxide from these cars. That breathing is important. But that's definitely one of my focuses to start in June, July, when the young folks, and even with the brothers that we run with in Sledge Group, to get them to be participants, because this is a skill, beloved. I can go anywhere with this skill, any 50 states in New York, in the United States, and once I show my portfolio, I have a job.
Right.
I have a job.
Let me ask you, did you know, or do you know Mtulu Shakur?
Mtulu Shakur? Oh, I don't.
It's well, it's still a Black Panther. But he had started the acupuncture program for addiction up in Lincoln Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard of the brother, right.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, brother.
No, but what were you going to say?
No, I was wondering if you knew him, because he's very well known in the Black community for acupuncture and stuff. And he said you had studied acupuncture.
Yeah. But never have I had the pleasure or the honor to be introduced to the brother or meet the brother. Well, right now, for me, again, getting to the alternative medicine, that's something that we all need to know, because that's our health benefit. That keeps it. I mean, because again, it comes from back home. Because, beloved, my son has a chart of an ancient African acupuncture chart on the hieroglyphs. I'm gonna do my best to get a copy, beloved. I'm gonna pass it on to you, and you can see all the acupuncture points that the Asians are using now, that the ancient Africans had been administering back during the time when the Africans were the only people to navigate this globe at that time. So that's a powerful piece. So, and we talking about using the needle. See, that's they weren't using stone. No, they were using needles. Because you can see the needle that they use, and by understanding the needle, you know what type of needle is, what gauge the needle was, and the type of head. And most of them was using steel, gold, or silver.
Wow.
So that's that right there, just by looking at it. See, that's why, I mean, for me, and I tell this to my young people, constantly study, because at any given time, you'll come across some information that may be part of something else that you may be studying, and it'll connect the dots if you study all types of information. Just browse through it, just to get an inkling of what it is. And you never know where it can take you to.
Right.
But that's one of my focuses for June, July this year, to talk to some of my young people and get them to get involved into this micro cement concept, only because I see it as a form of employment. And I don't like using that word employment, but the state of mind that we live in, employment. Because I want my young people to understand that when you get up in the morning to go to what they call a job, you want to go there because you're happy to go there. You basically want to fight to say, well, damn, should I go to work? No, I'm having too much fun. I'm having too much fun if I go to work. I'm having too much fun I be at the house. So I want you to be in conflict with yourself. If you like it at home, if you like it at the job, where do you want to go? Because, see, once you do that, I feel, for me personally, because, see, I now have control of how I can work. If I don't want to work for you, I don't have to work for you. I can cut you loose and go, because the level of my skill allows me to pick and choose where I can go and decide if I'm going to deal with the BS or not deal with the BS.
Right.
So that's why I want my young... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. Some years ago, I was introduced to this program, the Minority Worker Training Program, and it was part of it was working through the carpenters union. You know, downtown. You know where the carpenters union is downtown.
Yeah, I think on 20. They used to be on 22nd Street back in the old days.
Right, somewhere downtown. Yeah. And in any case, I went to minority workers training program, and I was bringing young people into it,
Right.
and I just saw the transition. Young people. First of all, you had to be there at a certain time. You had to be there on time, like you were working the actual job. You had to be there at 7 or whatever. Once the doors closed, that was you for the day.
Right.
If you didn't get there, you didn't get the training and stuff like that, right? And long story short, I saw the change that came over the young people from coming in there with the swagger and stuff like that, pants hanging down, showing their bloomers and stuff. And then I noticed, like they had a buddy system and stuff like that in the training program. They told them OSHA and all that. And the change, and it had sisters in it as well. And the change that I saw come over those brothers and sisters within a couple weeks' time,
Right.
they were, just transformed. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was asking you working with young people. It's amazing to see the transformation that doing something that you like and doing something that you are really that makes you proud of yourself.
Right. And brother Haji, the main focus is, and I'm saying this because of my background in the healing arts, in the construction, and dealing with coming out and living in the projects, that what we do through our art has to be a form of healing. Because if you see what's going on right now amongst our people, we don't have the right doctors that are providing the right healing. Like, some folks may get mad at me for saying this because I may be talking out of ill knowledge or misinformation, but we don't have the proper healing mechanism. And I'm not talking about has to be from the actual system that we live in. That there has to be another system that we have to go back home to find, look into ourselves to find, to start healing. And it starts with ourselves. So if we can use our art, and every one of us is an artist. I didn't realize this until one of my children told one of my grandchildren, "Yo, Pop, you're an artist." Every one of us, when we was in the womb, we were being created. To be an artist is about creation. So if we can take that concept that every day we can create, and our creation can be a healing factor for others also to heal themselves, to be able to create. Because once we create, like you just said, Brother Baba, you see the change in people. Because what now? They have a purpose. Because once you have a purpose and understanding that if I change, and if my change can heal another brother, another sister to become better than they were yesterday, that's the healing that we need. Because I say this for one reason. One of my young students, and I think you met him 3 years ago. He came to me. He was roughly 14 years old, and he came in with a T-shirt saying "confidence." And I said, "Beloved, why are you wearing that T-shirt?" And they said, "Well, my mother gave it to me." All right, I understand that your mother gave it to you, but why are you wearing that confidence? He said, "Hector, I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to become more confident than I was before." I said, wait. Say that again. "I'm going to reinvent myself and become a better man than I was before." I said, man, Brother Robert, you talking about an old man being flabbergasted? Whoa. He shot, and now, Brother Robert, if you see him today, now when I bring him to group, because I'm trying to get him back on group, once I bring him back on group and the brothers see this young brother, Beloved, they're going to be like, whoa. And all of us is being able to create. Once you create what you believe in yourself, and I'm talking about natural creation, that within is the confines of Almighty God, the Divine Mother, the Divine Presence, or in natural order. When you see how our young children are able to create in themselves, and then you allow them to create the power that they have, beloved, it's powerful. That's why right now, beloved, granted, they say that I'm an artist. I'm still a great though. But when I see my young people do what they do, next year, 2 years from now, they're gonna be phenomenal. And the brothers and sisters that are phenomenal now, they're gonna be more phenomenal. So that's why, for me personally, in the next, let's say 60, 90 days, get myself together, get my young people together, start this little, if it's just for 60 days, but just to start something, because once the ball starts rolling, they're going to run off of it. And once they run off of it, they're going to pass it on. Because my thing is this, I'm a virus. Because once I give you something, I expect you to give it to 10 other people. Why? Because you got 10 fingers. 10 fingers that have the power to create 2 strong fists. Let's use them. Boom. So by the grace of the Divine Mother, the Divine Universe, that's where man is at right now. And now that I'm talking to you, Brother Baba, and now that the world is listening to me, right now, I already put the line right in front of me. I got to meet that line, and I got to cross it and do what I got to do. So my mama said, yo, don't be talking, don't be talking, and you ain't got, well. Now I put my foot on the line. What you gonna do, Hector M. Bourbon Jr.? What you gonna do?
Yeah, once this is broadcast, you put in it out to the universe, my brother.
Yeah, beloved, that's what we gotta do. Because, beloved, look at it like this. If every day, each one of us said one prayer, and that one prayer is, I love you, Lord. And can you imagine if all of us at one time, that love you, Lord, hit the same time, and it was shot up to wherever it was supposed to go? What could happen?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the casting down of mighty empires.
Beloved, exactly.
Casting them down.
Exactly, beloved. Exactly.
Let me ask you, do you have your own studio?
I have an environment where I work out of. It's not totally mine. It's just, it's there, not being used. So I take it by the graces by the grace of Divine Mother, she allows me to do what I do, because again, I may sound like a butthead or crazy head. If it ain't by the grace of the blessing of the universe, there's a lot of things I can't do. And there's a lot of things a lot of us cannot do but by the grace of the Divine Universe or the Divine Mother. So if a lot of us is confused about certain things, start looking at that there's a divine presence. If you don't believe in Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, whatever, Shiva, Hindu, Taoism, whatever it is, understand this, beloveds, that there's a divine presence that I consider the womb of life, and that she rules over all things. And if you don't play chess and understand two of the most powerful pieces on that board is the king and the queen. Ask the queen why she has the ability to move all over the place erratically, while the king can only move one step at a time. Secondly, Baba, let me go one more step. For my beloved brothers, understand this, my beloved brothers. I know some of you won't get mad at me when I say this. Though we are the heads of the house, though we are the men and this and that, high testosterone and all of that other stuff, our queens, our women, are the swivel, are our neck. Without them, we can't do nothing, man. Without the grace of the divine woman, understand this, beloved brothers. Together with our queens, we are powerful. Honor them, respect them, teach them, protect them. The old ones, the middle ones, the young ones, and the ones that are coming into the world. I know we got issues with our sisters. I love them dearly. I love mine dearly. But remember, without them, we can't turn our necks. Our head cannot turn his head without the neck. And the queen is the truth. She directs where the hell you going. And she gonna make sure that's because can you imagine, Brother Baba, the neck go one way, the head go the other way? What you gonna get what they call that lock neck or a crisp neck or whatever they call it? Yeah, the neck and the head don't move together, man. We got some issues. We got some real issues. So yeah, beloved, I had to say that because that's something that we, especially us, have to tell these young brothers. We gotta tell our young brothers, yo man, love your women, take care of them, don't abuse them, don't talk to them like they just respect them. If you don't understand, talk to an OG. You say, yo, OG, I don't understand. Talk to us, man. And if you can't talk to him, yo, somebody else will tell you what the hell is going on. Excuse my language.
No problem. You didn't cross the line.
Go ahead, beloved, tell me.
We have a little bit of time left. I want you to talk a little bit about your relationship with Michael Sledge and the Sledge Group, if you will. We got about 10 minutes or so.
Cool. I'm gonna start out like this. Ding, 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 ding. You Hector Bourbon Jr. Do you know Michael Sledge? Oh, yeah, I know Michael Sledge. Man, me and Michael Sledge met 1973. Michael Sledge, Leander Hardaway, Reggie Brown, and my partner Quinn. Oh, I forgot Quinn's last name. We was a clique when we got out. When we get out of through high school and when we get out of high school. But yeah, me and Mike go back 50 years. This year makes 50 years. I know Mike. I ran back into Mike 7 years ago. Because one of my adopted sons was murdered in Atlantic City, and that kind of crushed me. Because talking to him, trying to get him to see things the way, if I'm your father, man, if you call me your father, yo, listen to me, man. I know what the hell is going on. Well, sometimes, again, our young people don't listen. They take that wrong left turn or that wrong right turn and bow. They're no longer here. Now they're an old conversation. And this is another conversation that young brothers need to hear from us OGs. Yo, if we tell you you're doing something wrong, listen to us. We've been down there. We got bodies in the cemeteries. Because a lot of our young brothers, for some reason, they don't want to listen, and they think they know everything. I love your identity, but you got to listen, man. You got to listen. So, Mike go back 1973. I ran into Mike in 2016. And from 2016, I've been sticking with the Sledge Group every Wednesday because I believe that if I, as an individual, says that I understand what the problem is, don't commit or engage to try and create a solution to a problem or a resolution to a problem. If I don't engage, I'm just what they call those armchair quarterback.
Right.
I'm just blowing smoke, and we not. So I said, let me do a little something. So right now, every Wednesday, by the grace of the universe, I do my best to spend that 2 hours just to speak. Because again, at this platform, the universe is listening to it, and the powers that be is listening to this conversation. So if there's someone that may, like, remember the old days, we used to have the radio. We had the AM station and FM station, and we used to turn it and somebody may be tuning into something, and they may hear something that they need to hear. So it may be you, Brother Baba, it may be Michael Sledge, it may be Chris, it may be Tim, it may be Reggie, it may be whoever, Antonio, whoever, Khalid, whoever that may be saying something at that time that someone needs to hear it.
that may
Exactly. And, I think about what we were discussing last night, and then we have to stop in the conversation. But I was thinking about how in-depth the conversation got last evening when we were talking about frustration and disappointment.
Frustration, disappointment.
So deep that we're going in the rabbit hole talking about talking about capitalism and the whole nine, and the trafficking of narcotics and stuff like that. Just last night, a brother called me, and he was saying, had I heard about this drug, I forget the name of it. I wrote it down. But in any case, it's something called a tranquilizer, for large animals like cows and horses and stuff like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's out there, it's out there, it's creeping in. So one of the things, I think, we should, as a group, we should pay attention to these things that are coming up in our communities, because they're the source of all the other negativity. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The drug traffic and stuff like that is the source much of our other of the other negativity that's flowing in our community. I just want to, first of all, I want to thank you, Hector. And let me say that this is Harlem 411 and beyond. I've been talking to Hector Bourbon, and we've been having, I think it was a good discussion. And the brother is very, very heavy and skilled as well, And so I'm happy to have him on. This won't be the last time we'll have further conversations, Hector. But anything you want to leave us with before we go?
Well, the main thing I want everybody to start understanding that we come into the spring solstice. So we can start preparing our mindset, our spirit set, our body set, our emotional set, to spring forward from the mindset that we in now, to re-educate, to re-evaluate, to understand that we need to cooperate and collaborate with each other to get ready for that spring that's coming. And once we spring forward, watch what's going to happen at the end of the year, beloved. Peace and blessings. I appreciate y'all. Hotel.
Peace and blessings, Hotel. All right. So we've been talking with Hector Bourbon. And it's been a good conversation. We could, if we had more time, we could go even more in depth. But Hector, I appreciate you. I love you, brother, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And
I love you.
No homo.
Yeah, we are alpha males, and we understand the direction where we go.
Amen. So, okay, so you take the best of care, and God bless you and keep you, and we will talk some more, man. We will talk some more, and you just keep doing what you're doing, and I'll see you again on Wednesday.
Thank you, beloved. You be blessed, man. You and the family. Take care.
Thank you. Peace and power.
Peace and power, beloved.
Okay, that was Harlem 411, another edition of Harlem 411 and beyond. And we are signing off for now, but there are other programming coming right up. And want to put the shout out to Sister